Today is August 27th, and I'm feeling a little bit better today. It's the 12th day of my fast, and it's been a water fast. And I have moments of feeling extremely exhausted, but other than that, I feel pretty good. And I left off talking about the rapes. Maybe I feel better because I just got that off my chest. But I was going to move forward from there, sort of along the timeline of what happened then, what happened next, with maybe my lawsuits, and then the FBI, and then how that affected me when I was then in Washington State. But instead, before going to the next juncture, I would like to say that it's been extremely discouraging, and that's a huge understatement, to be tortured. And I haven't given a lot of definition and explanation about what kinds of things have been done. I have in my blog a little bit, but I will do that. However, it's extremely discouraging to be tortured and be completely invalidated by your own government that's committing the torture. And it's very much like being in a concentration camp. I don't think there's any other way to describe it, or like being held as a prisoner of war and just tortured endlessly. However, the difference is that even a prisoner of war has a validation in the sense that everyone can see they are a prisoner of war. They're usually in something that's marked prisoner of war, or in a camp, in a POW camp. And people in concentration camps, they suffered and they were tortured and beaten and horrible things done to them. And yet they had the validation of everyone saying that they are in a concentration camp. And not only that, they had, a lot of times, they had the fellowship really isn't the right word, but they weren't the only ones. There were a whole bunch of them. So that strengthened the validity of their claims, and even if it took a while for someone to help them or get to them or do anything, it still was not something that was that hard to prove once it was found out. And what's been happening to me, I think, happens to maybe specifically targeted individuals in the United States, is extremely hard, because they just pick you out. They have the military, the government, they decided to pick out someone, ruin their life, and then they want and then on top of that, they want you to be completely invalidated in every way. So you suffer almost double the amount. You suffer the torture, then you suffer the humiliation of people making fun of you or doubting you or calling you mentally ill when you're not, and not even receiving the benefit of being able to confide in other people like you, or have a companionship and validity there. And I mention this because I filled out something last night, and it asked what my biggest challenge was, and I said instead of, I could have done what sounds normal, because I know what sounds normal. It doesn't sound in order to say my biggest challenge has been being a legitimate victim of torture and trying to, bring forth evidence to prove this. Yeah, I could leave it out, and I've done that a lot of times. I've lived through torture and left it out because it sounds more acceptable and it doesn't take as much time to explain, doesn't sound as out there. However, it's not the truth. The truth is that the biggest challenge of my life has been being tortured. I've been tortured, I've been obstructed from justice by means of torture in this country. This country has ruined everything that I could have done. They've taken away my son. They have illegally kidnapped my child from me. They've tortured both of us. They tortured me. They used a state-sponsored torture to keep me out of my own lawsuits. Any other person who has someone obstructing them from justice or from, impeding them from getting to court, anyone else would go to jail. And this country literally used their own resources to keep me out of a personal lawsuit that was to help just restore and maintain my reputation, which was good. It wasn't the kind of person I was extremely conservative. I was not the person that they portrayed me to be in the Willamette League. So later, I think they tried to break me down. A couple rapes here, a couple insults there. It's like they try to chip away and break you down, which is what they do to even kids when kids are sexually assaulted most of their life, and it's almost like they get groomed to be then used and exploited by other people because they're broken down in some way. And I had several people, I was broken down in different ways, which I can go into later, but I wouldn't say that my self-esteem or pride entirely, or my belief in God was broken down, but my ability to protect myself and was removed, and just wolves, wolves in packs, basically. They were the U-boats, all of them. They were the U-boats and the U-boat commanders and their little wolf packs with their Nazi ideas. And they all zeroed in and targeted me. When is she going out? When is she going to have a drink? Oh, good. That's when we're going to be around. And then we'll make sure that the person she trusts who's with her will just kind of slip to the side and vanish into thin air after she's already exposed and vulnerable because she had a couple drinks or whatever, and then we're going to home in on her. That's a wolf pack. Those are U-boat professionals. And a lot of them are connected to the United States government. So it's extremely discouraging to me to try to fill out a professional application for something and then be confronted with the choice of whether to deny the truth and try to sound normal when nothing is normal here, or to just tell the truth and be accused and give people reason to point that out and say that must be a sign of something wrong. I hope that you can see that in all of my clips, I've acted the same. I've pretty much talked the same, even though I've been very boring. And there's nothing mentally ill about me. My thoughts are clear. My eyes are clear. Look into my eyes. And I still have a sense of humor. I can laugh at things, which is quite amazing. And my mind is there. My mind is here. It's with me. And the only thing that sounds strange is my claim of torture. And the only reason that it sounds strange is because it is strange. It's strange that I've been tortured in this country. That doesn't mean that it's not happening. It is happening. It has been happening. I'm tired of having it happen. I want my son returned. My son was literally kidnapped from me. And I'm going to give you a little description of how I've been brought up around military and FBI my entire life. No matter where I've lived, this is just to give a little background to help support the idea that then at some point somebody decided to use me for other reasons which were ulterior, and were anti-competitive. However, they tried to link it in with a bunch of military and FBI crap. Since I was a little girl, well, in Moses Lake, Washington, we lived on Potato Hill Road. On one side was Mr. Danielson, who was a career military man with his German Shepherd. On the other side were the Coombs, and her brother was an army person. I think he was then in the army, or Army Reserve. So we lived in between two military persons. Behind us were the Springers. I'm pretty sure, I can't confirm, but I'm pretty sure that the Springers in hindsight were possibly FBI connected. So definitely we lived by military, not quite sure about the FBI thing, but it's very, very likely. After we moved from there, we moved to Sherwood, Oregon. In Sherwood, Oregon, our next door neighbor was an FBI agent, and then we had another FBI agent up the road. Everybody around us in that neighborhood was FBI, and it was interesting because my parents sort of fixed up houses. They bought kind of rundown houses and then fixed them up and resold them. They were always reselling them, it seems, to federal employees. They got the benefit of having a house that was already fixed up for them when they purchased the house. And which happened when my parents left the house in Sherwood, Oregon. Because the people who live in Sherwood now, where we used to live on Baker Road, they are government employees as well. So, again, and then the other thing that my mother sold her horse to a woman who was connected, again, to the Department of Justice. So all of these Department of Justice, military, FBI individuals have always surrounded my family since I was a kid. I recently asked who the doctor was that delivered me when I was a baby, because I have some questions about different things, just kind of wanting to know in general too, just for my own records. The doctor that supposedly delivered me was Dr. Bowsen, and I don't know how it's spelled. I don't know if it's B-O-U-S-E-N or B-O-W-S-E-N. However, is my chin getting cut off here? I am slouching. Oh. I'm just noticing in this little side window thing that shows you kind of what you look like when you're talking to the video camera. Notice that I'm sort of cut off, but I can hardly see because I'm nearsighted. I can kind of see the outline of my face more in position in this camera thing for the frame, but not much else. Anyway, that was a tangent. So, Bowsen. Okay, now I'm wondering, so was Bowsen a military doctor? Is that why I had jaundice after I was born? Was my head crushed because they had some idea of head molding that they wanted to employ when I was a kid? Or was my head just crushed because they already knew what my parents' abilities were, and they were worried that I might turn out the same way, so they wanted to make sure that they ruined my brain in some way? Because I am definitely not gifted the way that my parents are.